For 22 years the dented green Dodge came into the Saturday market before sunrise. Not with cattle, not with seed corn, not with anything that looked powerful. Just 12 wooden crates of apple butter, chokecherry jelly, and peach preserves stacked in the truck bed under a faded canvas tarp. The woman behind the wheel was 74-year-old Mabel Kincaid. She wore washed-thin overalls, rubber garden boots, and a straw hat that had lost its shape years earlier. Her hands were darkened by sun, stiff from arthritis, and permanently stained at the fingertips from crushed fruit. Every jar on her folding table was marked with a strip of masking tape and a handwritten price. $4. That was all most people in Maple Creek County thought Mabel was worth. A $4 jar. A tired truck. A farmhouse with peeling white paint on a forgotten gravel road. And the man who laughed at her the loudest was the one paying rent on the ground beneath half his empire. Nobody in that part of central Iowa treated land like an object. Land was bloodline. Land was reputation. Land was the difference between being a farmer and simply wearing the costume of one. So when Clayton Vail walked through the market every Saturday, everyone noticed. Clayton farmed big. At least, that was how he liked it said. He ran nearly 9,000 acres across 3 counties, drove a black F450 with spotless tires, and wore pressed jeans to a farmer's market as if gravel dust were something that happened to other men. His combines moved down county roads in autumn like a parade of green steel. His grain carts were so new the paint still looked wet. He talked in acres, yield maps, soil prescriptions, cash flow projections, and satellite imagery. He did not talk about debt. Mabel, on the other hand, talked about fruit. Morning, Clayton, she would say, setting jars in straight little rows. Peach turned out bright this week. Clayton would slow in front of her table, coffee in one hand, his wife drifting beside him, and a small audience already forming because they knew the routine. Still peddling sugar water, Mabel. He said one June morning, loud enough for the beef vendor and the seed salesman to hear. You know, if you ever want a real retirement, I can take that patch on Weaver Road off your hands. Mabel adjusted one jar, then another. It is not a patch, she said. Clayton smiled. It's 7 acres and a house that leans in the wind. I need a place for truck staging when I build my new grain leg by the highway. I'll pay you more than that place deserves. How much more? Asked someone from the crowd, already laughing. Clayton looked over his shoulder. 28,000, he said. Cash. Enough for a little apartment in town and all the canned soup she can stack. The laughter came low and cruel. Mabel did not blush, she did not defend herself. She simply slid a jar of peach preserves toward him. $4, she said. Clayton looked down at the jar like it had offended him. I don't eat pity food. Mabel pulled the jar back. Then have a good morning. That was how she survived public cruelty. She gave it nowhere to land, but cruelty does not disappear when it misses, sometimes it circles back with paperwork. The truth Clayton did not know was that Mabel had not been left behind by modern farming. She had stepped aside from it. 40 years earlier, when interest rates crushed farm families and auctioneers became the loudest men in the countryside, Mabel and her husband, Daniel, made the decision everyone mocked at the time. They sold their biggest tractor. They paid off their house. They kept no debt they could not carry through a bad year. Then, when desperate neighbors lost farms at courthouse auctions, Daniel and Mabel bought small pieces. Not loudly, not in a rush. 80 acres here, a rough pasture there. A drained bottom field nobody wanted because it needed tile repair. They paid cash. They put the land into the Red Hollow Family Trust because Daniel hated gossip, and Mabel hated envy. By the time Daniel died, the trust held more than 1,100 acres of paid-off black dirt spread across the county. Clayton Vale had been leasing the best of it for 9 years, he just did not know whose soil he was farming. To Clayton, Mabel was the poor widow at the end of Weaver Road, a woman who counted coins at the grocery store and drove a truck older than some of his hired hands. To Mabel, Clayton was a tenant, a noisy one, a careless one, but a tenant. And tenants, no matter how loud, did not own the ground. The first crack in Clayton's empire opened in July. Corn futures dropped hard after a promising growing season across the Midwest. Soybeans followed. For farmers with low debt, it meant tightening belts and waiting for a better year. For Clayton, it meant suffocation. He owned only 700 acres outright. The rest of his operation sat on cash rent, operating loans, equipment notes, seed credit, chemical credit, and the kind of confidence that only works while prices stay friendly. His banker, Len Harrow, had stopped laughing at Clayton's jokes. Inside the conference room at Farmers State Bank, Len placed 3 pages on the table. "Your working capital is gone," Len said. Clayton leaned back, pretending not to hear the danger in that sentence. "It's a down market. It will come back. You need corn above $5.10 just to cover rent, machinery, and inputs on your current acreage," Len said. "You are carrying over $6 million in combined notes and operating credit. Your debt-to-asset ratio is past where the board is comfortable." Clayton tapped the table with 2 fingers. "That is why I'm expanding storage. Once I put up the new grain leg on Highway 31, I capture basis, dry my own corn, move faster at harvest, and your board gets its collateral." Len looked over his glasses. "You do not own frontage on Highway 31, Clayton's jaw tightened. "I will." "From whom?" Clayton gave a short laugh. "From the old jelly woman, Mabel Kincaid. She has 7 acres at the interchange. House is half rotten, barn is worse. She is stubborn, but she is broke." Len did not answer right away. The silence had weight, Clayton noticed. "What?" Len gathered the pages into a neat stack. "I would be careful with Mabel Kincaid." Clayton smirked. "Len, she sells $4 jars out of a truck with rust holes in the bed." "Yes," Len said quietly. "She does." That should have been enough to make a smarter man curious, but desperation does not make arrogant men smarter. It makes them crueler. That afternoon, Clayton drove out to Weaver Road. Mabel's place sat under 2 old cottonwoods with a vegetable garden behind the porch and rows of berry canes tied to sagging wire. The farmhouse needed paint. The barn roof had a visible dip, a line of clean jars dried upside down on a towel near the kitchen window. Clayton saw poverty, Mabel saw weathered wood, paid taxes, and peace. She was sitting on the porch shelling peas into a stainless steel bowl when his truck stopped in a cloud of dust. He came up the steps without taking off his hat. "I am done playing games," Clayton said. Mabel kept shelling. Snap. Drop. Snap. "I am offering $32,000 for the Weaver Road place," he said. "That is more than any appraiser would give you. It is not for sale. You don't understand what I can do." Mabel placed 1 pea pod into the bowl and finally looked at him. "I understand quite a lot." Clayton stepped closer. "I need that frontage. And if you will not be reasonable, I will make this property expensive to keep. I know people on the zoning board. I know the county health office. I know who approves nuisance complaints. You have junk vehicles, an old barn, food production in a farmhouse kitchen, and more code problems than you have teeth. Mabel's eyes did not move. You came all this way to insult my teeth. I came here to save you from a fight you cannot afford. Mabel stood with effort, not weakness, effort. There is a difference. She wiped her hands on her apron and stepped to the edge of the porch. Clayton, a man who owns something does not need to threaten an old woman for 7 acres. His face went red. You think you are untouchable because people feel sorry for you. No, Mabel said, I think I am home. That line stayed in the air longer than Clayton wanted it to. He turned, slammed down the steps, and shouted back from his truck. You will wish you had taken the money. For days later, he proved he meant it. The Saturday market was full by 8 o'clock. Sweet corn was stacked in green piles, a youth softball team was selling pancakes near the fire station booth. Mabel had just set out 3 rows of apple butter, when a county sedan pulled into the gravel lot. A woman in khaki pants stepped out with a clipboard. Behind her came Clayton. He did not pretend it was a coincidence. The inspector stopped at Mabel's table. Mabel Kincaid. Yes, we received a formal complaint about unlicensed processed food sales and missing acidity documentation for fruit preserves. The market quieted. Mabel rested both hands on the edge of the table. I sell under cottage food rules, she said. I have for years. The inspector flipped a page. The complaint alleges your gross sales exceed the limit and that your labels are incomplete. Until we review your records and kitchen setup, I am issuing a temporary stop sale notice. A few people murmured. Clayton folded his arms, wearing the careful expression of a man pretending to be disappointed by his own victory. Public safety matters, he said loudly. Nobody is above the rules. Mabel looked from the paper to Clayton. There was no anger in her face. That made him enjoy it less. Pack it up, the inspector said. For the first time in 22 years, Mabel took jars off the table before noon. One by one. Apple butter. Peach. Choke cherry. All back into crates. The crowd watched with the uncomfortable silence of people seeing cruelty but not yet willing to pay the price of objecting to it. Clayton stepped closer. My offer is $25,000 now, he said. Expenses are about to pile up. Mabel tied the canvas over the last crate. I suppose, she said, I will have some free time this week. Clayton smiled. He thought he had cornered her. But as Mabel drove out of the market, she did not take the road home. She turned toward Farmers State Bank. And from the cracked vinyl seat of that old Dodge, she made one phone call. Len, she said, calm as rain. It is Mabel. I believe it is time to stop renewing Clayton Vale. By the second week of August, Clayton was no longer sleeping. The letter came in a cream envelope from North Star Fiduciary Services, registered agent for the Red Hollow Family Trust. Clayton read it once, then again, then a third time with his thumb pressed so hard into the paper it left a mark. The trust was not renewing his lease on the North Bend and Hollis farms. 980 acres, the best ground he farmed. Level, tiled, black and close enough to his bin site to save fuel. Time and labor every harvest. That acreage did not just produce grain, it made his averages look good. It made his lenders patient. It made his empire believable. Without it, the math did not bend, it broke. Len answered on the second ring. What is this letter? Clayton snapped. I assume you mean the lease termination notice. Do not play banker with me, Len. I farmed that ground. I have farmed it for 9 years. You leased that ground, Len said. Past tense after December 31st. Clayton paced across his home office, past the framed drone photo of his combines lined up like a military formation. I'll pay more. $50 more per acre. Put that in front of them. The beneficiary is not interested. Then tell me who the beneficiary is. I cannot disclose trust information over the phone. Clayton stopped pacing. Something in Len's voice made his stomach turn, then set a meeting. It is already set, Len said. Tomorrow morning. 10 o'clock. Conference room 2. Good, Clayton said, I'll bring my attorney. I recommend that. Clayton waited for Len to add something reassuring. He did not. The next morning, Clayton dressed like a man going to war with paperwork. White shirt. Best belt. Clean boots. County Fair belt buckle polished bright enough to catch the light. He arrived at Farmers State Bank 10 minutes early and walked through the lobby with his shoulders wide, making sure the teller saw him. Len met him at the hallway. Clayton leaned close. Who is in there? Some land fund out of Des Moines. Some family office. Len opened the conference room door. No, he said. Not exactly. Clayton stepped in ready for lawyers. He found Mabel Kincaid. She sat at the end of the table in a blue cotton blouse, her straw hat placed beside a worn leather purse. In front of her was a manila folder, a set of stamped lease documents, and a single jar of apple butter with a strip of masking tape across the lid. For dollars. Clayton stopped so abruptly his attorney nearly bumped into him. What is this? Clayton said. Mabel looked at him as if he had arrived for an appointment she had been expecting for years. Good morning, Clayton. He turned on Len. I said I wanted to meet the owner. Len's voice was very quiet. You are. Clayton laughed once. It sounded fake even to him. She owns 7 acres and a rotten porch. Mabel opened the folder. No, she said. I live on 7 acres and a porch that needs paint. She slid the first document across the table. The paper showed Section 12, North Bend Farm, 240 acres. Then Section 17, 320. Then the Hollis Tract, 420. Then smaller parcels, creek bottoms, pasture, and strips of tillable ground Clayton had driven past for years without knowing who held title. Stamped, recorded, paid. Clayton's face changed slowly, as if every number had to cut its way through his pride before it reached his brain. Mabel folded her hands. Daniel and I bought land when nobody wanted land because everybody was afraid of interest rates. We did not borrow for it. We did not brag about it. We did not put our name on signs. Clayton swallowed. You hid it. We protected it. This is impossible. No, Mabel said, it is quiet, that is not the same thing. The attorney beside Clayton shifted in his chair and said nothing. Len placed one sheet in front of Clayton. With the loss of these leases, your cash flow projection for next season is short by approximately $1.3 million before equipment restructuring. The bank will require additional collateral or a significant reduction in exposure. Clayton's mouth opened, then closed. For years, he had believed the land made him powerful because he farmed it. Now he was learning the difference between touching soil and owning it. Mabel, he said, and the name came out smaller than he intended. Listen, what happened at the market got out of hand. She watched him. You threatened my home. I was frustrated. You used the county to humiliate me. I was trying to protect my business. You tried to take my Saturday from me because you wanted a grain leg you could not afford. His eyes flicked to the jar on the table. I can make this right. Mabel picked up the jar and turned it once in her hands. "The thing about apple butter," she said, "is that it only thickens if you are patient. You cannot bully it with heat, you stand there and stir while the water leaves." She set the jar down. Daniel said land was the same way, it teaches you what is real by waiting longer than your pride can stand. Clayton leaned forward. "If I lose those acres, I lose the combines. I lose the operating line. I might lose my house." Mabel's face did not harden, it settled. "That was worse. You built a kingdom on rented ground," she said, "then you mistook the rent check for a deed." He stared at her. The room was so quiet the fluorescent light seemed loud. "Mabel, please." She stood slowly and took her straw hat from the chair. "I am not renewing the leases. North Bend and Hollis will go to someone younger. Someone who still remembers that soil is not an audience. It does not applaud a man for being loud." She turned to Len. "Begin the tenant search at fair rent. Prioritize operators with low debt and local roots." Len nodded. At the door, Mabel paused and looked back. "One more thing, Clayton." He lifted his eyes. "I passed the kitchen inspection yesterday. Proper labels, tested recipes, the whole stack of paperwork. I will be at the market Saturday." Her voice stayed soft. "The apple butter is $5 now." Clayton Vale did not collapse in private. In farm country, ruin has a sound. It sounds like an auctioneer selling equipment too new to be paid for. It sounds like yellow tags slapped on combine windows. It sounds like neighbors pretending not to stare while they stare anyway. By late November, the machines that once made Clayton look untouchable sat in rows on a gravel auction lot outside town. 2 combines, 3 grain carts. A planter folded like a dead insect. A line of trucks washed clean for buyers who knew cleanliness was cheaper than solvency. The drone photo came down from his office wall before Christmas. The bank restructured what it could, liquidated what it had to, and refused to fund another season built on fantasy. Clayton kept a smaller home, but not the one with the long driveway and stone pillars. He lost the fleet, the hired entourage, the king of the county walk. By spring, he was custom spraying for a neighbor who used to ask him for advice. People said it was sad. Mabel did not. She also did not celebrate. A farmer losing ground was not entertainment to her. She had watched too many good families lose too much for that. But a bully losing borrowed power was something else. That was accounting. The larger shock came when the county plat books updated. Red Hollow Family Trust no longer hid behind the registered agent. Mabel Kincaid's name appeared in black print beside parcel after parcel across Maple Creek County. 1,136 acres, paid off. Even at conservative values, the old woman in garden boots owned more land than every man who had ever laughed at her table. The same mayor who once ignored her request for gravel on Weaver Road suddenly discovered infrastructure priorities. The road crew appeared within 2 weeks. The potholes vanished. Her mailbox post was replaced without anyone asking. The feed store owner sent flowers. The insurance agent sent a holiday ham. Clayton's wife sent nothing, which Mabel respected more than all of it. She donated the ham to the church pantry and put the flowers on Daniel's grave. Then she went home and cooked apples until the kitchen windows steamed. The first Saturday market of the next season opened under a pale April sunrise. By 6:30, people had already gathered near the empty corner where Mabel always parked. Nobody admitted they were waiting for her, but all of them kept looking toward the entrance. Then the old Dodge appeared. Still dented, still green under the rust. Still coughing like each revolution of the engine required a private negotiation. It rolled into the gravel lot with 12 wooden crates in the back and a folded card table tied down by rope. The crowd parted without being told. Mabel stepped out wearing the same overalls, the same straw hat, the same rubber boots. Nothing about her looked richer. That was the part that frightened them. She set up slowly, table first, cloth second, jars third. Apple butter, peach preserves, chokecherry jelly. Behind the jars, she placed her framed commercial kitchen certificate. Beside it she set a hand-painted sign. Kincaid Orchard Preserves. $5. A line formed before she had finished tying her apron. Bank president, mechanic. School secretary, seed salesman. Mayor, all standing in the same gravel where they had watched Clayton humiliate her and done nothing. When the mayor reached the front, he held out a $20 bill for 4 jars and smiled too hard. "Morning, Mrs. Kincaid," he said. "We got that road work done out your way. Let us know if it needs anything else." Mabel counted his jars into a paper sack. "The road is fine," she said. He nodded quickly. "Good. Good." She handed him the sack, then placed his change on the table 1 coin at a time. "Roads are like reputations," she said. "They last longer when people stop driving heavy things over them just to prove they can." The mayor went quiet. So did the line. Mabel smiled, not cruelly, and turned to the next customer. By noon, she had sold out of everything except 2 jars of chokecherry, which she saved for the church raffle. Her old Dodge sat behind the booth all morning, rust showing along the wheel wells, bumper tilted, tailgate tied with baling wire. People looked at it differently now. The truck had never been evidence of failure, it had been evidence of a woman who did not need applause badly enough to finance it. Years later, people in Maple Creek still told the story of the day Clayton Vale walked into the bank and learned who owned his best ground. But Mabel never told it that way. When someone asked how she had kept the secret so long, she would only say Daniel had taught her that dirt does not care who brags at the coffee shop. It waits. It holds. It records every footprint. And when the loud men run out of borrowed paper, the ground is still there. Clayton had borrowed a kingdom on paper. Mabel had kept the ground.